Supreme Court gave the Trump administration the green light to strip legal protections from 350,000 Venezuelans.
Yeah, this order puts a hold on a previous ruling that kept the temporary protected status program in place. Joining us now is constitutional law expert Robert McWhirter. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what does this mean for Venezuelans after this decision?
Well, the Venezuelans here, it's a little bit ambiguous what's going to exactly happen, but it has allowed the administration to remove what is called their temporary protected status. That gives somebody under that status protection from deportation and other immigration actions while they're assessing their cases for other things like political asylum, etc. It allows them to live and work in the United States and be productive members of their communities. But this strips this away from them, which means they can be deported back to Venezuela, which is a Marxist, radical leftist regime, which many of them fled persecution.
Yeah, more on that. Why is the TPS program so important for the Venezuelan community specifically?
Well, many of them fled Venezuela. Many of them have gone to other countries like Colombia and Mexico and the United States to flee the tyranny that's going on with the Maduro regime. It's kind of ironic that Donald Trump, who points his finger and says everybody who's against him is a Marxist, liberal, leftist, all the Democrats, et cetera, and yet he wants to send all these people back to Venezuela where they're going to be persecuted by that very type of regime. This also has great implications for other groups like Afghanis who came here, who were actually translating for our troops, giving our troops intelligence, and those people are next on the chopping block who could lose their status and be sent back and killed by the Taliban.
Absolutely. And should they, I'm sure they do, actually, should they fear deportation right now? Of course, this is in line with what we're seeing with the Trump administration seemingly removing barriers to be able to deport people easier. How likely is it that that's what's going to happen to these people?
Well, I think it's very likely. I mean, for all the people in South Florida who supported Donald Trump, including many of these Venezuelans, he is doing exactly what he said he would do. And he intends to deport as many people as possible in the history of the United States. And this is one of his ways to do so. They should all be fearing deportation right now, because now that he's removed the status and the Supreme Court has given him the green light to do so, then that means they're all subject to deportation and will be deported because he's going to do what he says.
So, Robert, right now, what are the legal options for people who may lose this protection?
Well, some of them may have other legal options, assuming that the administration actually gives them their right to due process, which is the Supreme Court has upheld that in other cases, of course. But assuming they have it, some of them can assert other claims like political asylum or what's called withholding of deportation, or assert that they are now parents of American citizens and a few other things. But for many of them, there is going to be no recourse, and they're going to be deported and put on planes and sent back. Or even more absurd, if he tries to invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, he will put them on with no due process against the Supreme Court's orders.
All right, Robert McWhirter, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Another situation we'll continue to watch.
My pleasure.